putting too much into it. Yeah. Let's get this fire started. Sports became a passion. Convo bring it to life, highlighting all the action. Opinions could explode like a chemical reaction. If we started from the bottom, now rise up the newest caption. Man, it's known that every team and every person got an emphasis. But this that similarity that smokes all of our differences. Statements can get real, better back it up with evidence. Prove it for the record, watch this hour of deliverance. Haters outside the lines, but we do it quite frankly. Cause I'm around the horn, so just part the interruption. Cause the hatred they be spreading is an unwanted production.
What's going on? You know who I am. I'm Andre the Torch Robinson here. Buffalo Bills Rise Up Early edition of, Rise Up Early. Brought to you by Rise Up Family, of course. Listen, we are 7 days away. 7. Can you believe it? We waited so long for this NFL season. Went through so much for the NFL season to even happen. And now we are here. Bills Mafia. Like and share the show. I need you guys to like and share. This show is going to be very, very combustible. Very, very combustible. Yeah. The fire starter's here. The elements are here. It's 7 away. It's 7 close days away from the Bills versus the Jets coming up. And yes, we got some things to talk about before we get to that Jets game that's been going on. That's going on. And I'm just super excited. I can't wait to see how the Buffalo Bills are going to come out. I need you right now to jot this down. Number one, first and foremost, the call line number is 716-803-9517. Okay? 803-9517. I'm going to share this show to the many media groups, obviously, who support. I want to thank y'all so very much for always doing that. And you know what the show is, but I gotta remind you one more time. All right. So, shout out to Rise Up Family, shout out to the OnPoint Network, shout out to Bills Mafia. Bills Mafia, let's go. Let's like and share. Here we go. First and foremost, right off the jump, the Buffalo Bills had to take care of a couple things before this season started. All right, they had to take care of a couple things. Number one, we paid Trey Day. Trey Day has gotten paid. 4 years, $70 million, $55 guaranteed. It was a must that they got this done. A must. Not just we'll get to it when we need to. No, it was a must. They had to get this done right now. So here's the thing. Trey Day will get paid this 4 year, $70 million deal after this season. Not starting this season. After this season, after he's finally played out his rookie deal, he will be one of the highest paid cornerbacks. Except for he's not the highest. Now, I consider Trey White to be the number one, the absolute number one corner in the league. Period. No question. To me, personally. I know people will talk about Stephon Diggs or Byron Jones or guys like that. I really don't care. Trey White showed last year that he's phenomenal. And he's a game changer, game breaker. And he has probably the most solidified, to me, besides New England, the most solidified defense, and is probably the biggest anchor on a defense that I've seen in the top 3 defenses besides maybe Nick Bosa from the 49ers. Okay, whatever. He's that guy. Okay, he's that guy. Do you agree with the contract? Do you think he deserved more? Do you think it was a good move to take this contract? I think it was a really good move. I mean, a couple things for me. It shows that he's not greedy. And he wants to play for the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, he opted into the season, even though when people was talking smack, I'm sure y'all was a little nervous. But I think the guy's phenomenal. He is a lock you down corner. He's not a zone corner. He's not a look around for somebody else to do the job. Step in when he doesn't. No, he gets the job done, and we appreciate that. I personally appreciate that. I personally like corners who follow you, corners who are in your hip pocket, corners that's talking crap to you during your route. Oh, you want to run this route? I'm right here in your hip pocket. Yeah, I like those type of corners, and Trey White is one of those type of guys. Um, like I said, 716-803-9517. Call me, let me know. Do you think that this contract was fitting for Trey White? Do you think he should have got more? And what do you expect from Trey White this season? I'm gonna be very honest. The team that now has a lot of defensive depth at the defensive line position. This should be pick city. It should be pick city. A lot more. They should have a lot more pressure. Jerry Hughes and Lorenzo Alexander last year was pretty much the pressure for the Buffalo Bills for the most part. With more pressure comes more opportunities. And I think, to be very clear, very honest with you, he should have more opportunities to intercept the football like he did. He had 6 interceptions last year. He allowed no touchdowns. Nobody scored. Nobody. Okay? Nobody scored on him. With that being said, he should have more opportunities. I'm looking for Trey White to put up 6 interceptions again. Why not? You always want to do just as good as you did the year before, and I think Trey White is that type of dude where he can put up those numbers. And again, I don't want you guys to miss out on this, so like and share, please like and share the show. All right. And I want to thank y'all for tuning in early because I know it's 8:30 in the morning. You could be doing anything else. But like and share the show. My guy Mookie Hawkins should be coming any second, and so should my special guest. I got Adrian Audrey coming on as well to talk about the Buffalo Bills. So he should be here any minute. And yeah, I'm really excited. This definitely solidifies that secondary that was already great from the beginning. I think the Bills should be able to, and this is with Josh Norman being at least 70% of what he was in Carolina, they should be able to solidify the best secondary in all of football. I know that is pretty steep because there's 32 teams, and people are going to say, well, there's better secondaries in the league. No, there's not. Not to me. There's not. There's not a secondary that I think is better than the Buffalo Bills secondary at all. Now, if you want to debate me, that's fine and dandy. Like I said, you can call me. Yeah, I know the number. I've said it twice. I'll say it a third time. I might say it 7 times just to represent the 7 days that's left before we get to watch NFL football. 716-803-9517. Okay? That's simple. I'm being very clear today. There's no gray areas. There's no. I'm very, very serious about Trey White and him being the best, the very best. I've watched him since LSU. Pretty good corner in LSU. Too bad he wasn't there for the national championship, but nevertheless, still in all, the Buffalo Bills have went to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years, and Trey White has been there. So let's let that sink. Let that sink in. Okay, let that sink in. We want to give players their props when props is due or credit is due. This guy deserves hella credit, hella praise. If you would have went up, to be honest with you, with this contract, that 7 that you see on that million right there, if that would have been 4 years, 80 million, I still would have been cool with that. because he deserves that. Okay, I'd have been cool with that. That's just my personal opinion. All right. Now let's get to these comments. Let's get to these comments. Now, see if we got any comments in the comment section. And not yet. We don't have comments in the comment section yet. But we're getting there, nevertheless. We're gonna get there. All right. Wow. Moving on. Obviously, when you see the Buffalo Bills edition of Rise Up Family, you see a banner. And you see a guy on the banner. And the guy is obviously Motor, right? It's Devin Singletary. Now, Devin Singletary gave us 752 yards and 150 carries last year, 5.2 yards a carry last year. Phenomenal guy. I'm one who's high on Devin Singletary. But it has been reported to me that Devin Singletary is having some problems holding on to the football. Interesting. So I'm gonna be very, very clear. I'm gonna be very clear. I'm gonna be very direct on this. It is quite weird that this report is now coming out because I don't think Devin Singletary had too much issues handling the football last year, right? So I think a week ago or so, we talked about Zach Moss and we talked about Devin Singletary and who would be the better fantasy football pick. And then also last week, we talked about there's been conversations that are saying that Devin Singletary may not be the starting running back because Zach Moss is bigger and more of the bruising back, in which I think he's a third down goal line situation back. I think that would be good to start Zach Moss. But there's people saying Zach Moss should start. Is this a testament to maybe those conversations that he's having issues fumbling football now? Because it's I try not to. No, let me stop. I definitely kind of piece things together piece by piece, and it's just weird now that we're hearing this about this guy, and we weren't hearing about this before. David Turley, what's going on with you? Good morning. Good morning. Shout out to you. It's weird that we're hearing about these fumbling issues. Has anybody else heard about these fumbling issues? And if you have, put it in the comment section or again for the fourth time. 716-803-9517 is the number you can call. All right. Dave Turley, good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Like and share, by the way. Appreciate you for doing so. All right. I'm going to move right along. And to be very honest with you, we'll probably get back into these topics shortly, but I'm going to move along right now. And I'm going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we'll talk more Buffalo Bills. All right. Don't touch that dial.
Twice in the backfield, going deep. He takes it inside the 25. He's working out. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Dad Lewis. Check out sports shows on the fastest growing streaming TV network, the OnPoint Network. You can stream it on Roku, Amazon, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Xbox, YouTube, and Facebook. Download the OnPoint channel and network app to any smart device. It's free, everybody. It's free.
All right. We are back. We are back in the building. What's going on? Like and share the show again. If you are just tuning in, we talked about Trey White's contract extension, and we also talked about fumbling motor. The reports are saying that Devin Singletary may not be the starter because of fumbling issues. If you want to call in, you can. 716-803-9517 is the number. All right. It is the number that you can call right here on Buffalo Bills edition of Rise Up Early. And talk about it. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. All right. Well, we got to move on in the show. And we're going to continue the show by talking about who made the 53. We are going to talk about the 53. Right now, I want you to put in the comment section if you feel that the 53 is right. Do you feel like the 53 was the right 53? If not, put it in the comment section too, or you can call. All right. But I'm going to give you a rundown of the 53. All right. 53 that made it and the people who were cut. So bear with me because I have it here. All right. Now, we'll break it down position by position. All right. So I will tell you right now that there's no discrepancies anymore. The 53 has been locked in. All right. For the season starting next week against the New York Jets, in which the Bills are going to start off the season with a W, right? Yeah. At the quarterback position, the final roster was Josh Allen, Matt Barkley, Jake Fromm. Obviously, there's no real, I'm so surprised about that, right? Josh Allen's the starter. Matt Barkley will be the backup. Jake Fromm, I call him Jake from State Farm, will be the third choice at quarterback, right? They did cut Davis Webb. So he's not in the rotation any longer. All right, at the running back position, the final roster is Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, TJ Yeldon, Reggie Gilliam, and Tywan Jones. The Buffalo Bills did cut Antonio Williams, Patrick DeMarco, who is on IR, and obviously Christian Wade, who's a roster exempt. Okay. So, kind of on the fence about the Christian Wade situation. I ain't even going to lie to you. I'm not going to hold you. I'm on the fence about the Christian Wade situation. Why do we still have TJ Yeldon? Just wondering. For anybody who has an answer to that question, please call in or put it in the comment section as I continue to share the show. I just want to know why. We just got finished talking about fumbling motor, but we still have TJ Yeldon on the roster. For what, though? I get it. Some people I've heard say, oh, well, he can catch the ball out the backfield. Yeah, he can also fumble out the backfield, too. I'm not a fan of TJ Yeldon at all. I don't care where you come from. I don't care if you're a veteran. I don't care about neither one of those things. Again, to me, the best ability, and this is something Chris always says, the best ability is availability. And when you're available, making the best out of those opportunities. What's going on? Sports Q.
Good morning.
Sports Q TV's legendary 1080, 96.5, Power 96.5. Number one sports beat writer and reporter. What's good, Moot?
Good morning to you, Mr. Church. How you doing, sir?
Or do duty, active and on duty, sir. What's going on, man? What's going on? So, let's run down a couple of things real quick because I was just getting into the 53. Who made the 53? Let's run back a little bit. I told everybody who was tuned in that we would run back a little bit. So let's talk about Trey White first. I need you to explain the Trey White contract. Did you like it? Do you think he just should have deserved more? Because he's not the highest paid corner. He's got a lot of guaranteed money at $55 million, but he's not the highest paid corner. And to me, he is the best corner in the league. He's the number one corner in the league. So how do you feel about that? Do you think that was
Who's the highest paid corner, Trey?
It's that goofy Byron Jones who makes $20 million.
He makes $20 million. What's his contract again?
You know what it is. 5 years, $100 million, blah, 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 Miami, blah, blah, blah mess. Trash. Trash.
How much of it is guaranteed?
Interesting. Now that's a good, because you know what? I'm going to go find that out right now. I swear to God, I could have swore.
So tell me who what cornerback has the most guaranteed money right now?
You know the answer to this already.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, so actually, I'm sorry, y'all. Byron Jones, 5-year deal, $82.5 million with $57 million guaranteed. So that's roughly around almost $17 million. It's about 16 and a half. 57 million. I mean, Trey White is he's pushing, 17, pushing the 17 million. Close. Quite close. But the deal does make Byron Jones still the highest NFL paid corner, unfortunately, with the 82.
I don't know. They're saying that Trey White's guaranteed money makes him the highest in guaranteed out of corners. I think he slight got somebody by like a half a ticket or something like that. But at the end of the day, when you look at his contract, that extension don't kick in until after the 5th year option.
Correct.
So when you look at the grand total of that contract, it's an $82 million contract. Right, so it's a good.
Did you add in his last year of his rookie deal? Correct. I think that's when he gets it.
Last year, if you add it's 2 years because you got this year. They picked up his option. They picked up 5th year. All right.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Extension kicks in after that. That's why it was only a 4-year, $70 million deal.
Okay. All right. See, that's why we go over things right here. The one Mookie Hawkins is in the building. What's up? What's up, everybody? Make sure that you like and share. Continue to like and share. All right. There's reports. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Mook. Sorry.
I think the deal is a good deal. I think the deal is a good deal on both parties. I mean, it doesn't strap the Bills, with cash like they can't, sign anybody else. It's real cap friendly for them. It's a win-win for both. Trey gets what he wants, being recognized as one of the top paid corners in the NFL. He got that. And, now the Bills don't have to wait for Jalen Ramsey or some other cornerback to get, their bag. And then Trey White is going to have to get more than what that next guy got. So, I think it was good to get this deal out of the way early. Don't let it carry on and linger for 2 years, because watch and see where these cornerback contracts will be in the next 2 years. So, I think it was a good deal for the Bills to get this job done. And both parties are happy campers right now. So the only thing they got to do is focus on winning. No distractions.
Okay, let me read the comments real quick. I think it's right, but I did want Duke Williams on this team. David Telly said special teams is the reason why I think. GM just shared. Good morning. What's up, Tavon? Thank you very much. Brian Salisbury, what up? Brad Wickline was good. Shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in as well. So let's talk about this fumbling motor. There's reports that Devin Singletary may not be the starter. He's got some fumbling issues. You got fumbling issues?
No fumbling issues. What fumbling issues did you hear that from?
Interesting. I did hear from a couple of folks that he's got some fumbling issues. And I'm like, okay. Interesting to hear. Especially it's kind of weird because he didn't have that issue last year. And it's interesting. It's interesting because we had conversations about Zach Moss and him, who was the better fantasy player. And then there's some people out here that say that Zach Moss will be the starter coming up, that he might be the starter because he's a bigger back and more durable to be a 3-down back. And I'm like, well, I think he's better for third downs and goal line. But there's people out there that's like, yeah, no. So clear that up for us. I think you did already with the facial expression, but go ahead and let everybody clear that up for the people.
If there was a fumbling problem out of Motor Singletary, Brandon Bean went and drafted the guy. The first thing out of a running back, is ball security. All right. So if you're not taking care of the football, they don't want you here. So I don't think that's the case. There's no fumbling problem. Where do you see him at? Wasn't no preseason games. So where did y'all see him fumbling at? I mean, he had a few as a rookie. What rookie ain't gonna have a few fumbles? But it wasn't to the point where he was every time he touched the ball, we holding our breath that he doesn't fumble the ball. So I don't know where they heard that. I mean, there's going to be a two-headed monster. Devin Singletary is going to start the game. But I mean, Zach has that potential where he can start some games. But right now, they're going to take everything day by day, and it's a slow process with that. So Zach won't be starting. It's Motor Singletary. That's Motor Singletary will be starting. He's familiar with the offense. Only thing that I might say that gives him a nod is in pass protection for Josh, but that remains to be seen too. Will Zach be out there when Josh is throwing? Who knows? I mean, Dable is definitely tweak some things in this offense. So, not gonna let the cat out of the bag because it's a game to be played on Sunday. So I don't think that Zach Moss is going to be starting over Motor Singletary. Now, will he get some snaps? Of course, he's going to get that. When you look at it last year, the Bills running backs Gore was like 170. I think they were kind of like the same in attempts, just about. That number is going to be just about the same. I think Singletary has about 200 touches. And, Zach Moss have about 100, 150. They got a good chance to do something big in that run game. I think they both have an opportunity to score double-digit touchdowns due to the fact that how they're going to use those two guys. So, I mean, it's going to be running back by committee. It's not just going to be one guy. I mean, every team in the NFL does it now by committee. There's no really workhorse unless you were in Dallas or who else? Atlanta. It's done by committee now because backs get hurt, they get injured real quick, and now your season is messed up. Remember when LaDainian Thomas got hurt, messed up their whole season?
Right.
So, so team's been learning since then. So Bills is going to do this thing by committee. So we're not worrying about guys fumbling. I don't think there's a fumbling problem. You're not going to be a running back in Buffalo fumbling the ball.
All right, you heard it first. Shut y'all mouths if y'all talking about Devin Singletary.
I think that's a fantasy. I think that's some fantasy stuff just to give Zach Moss and fantasy, which isn't a bad deal because Zach is going to be in that red zone. He's the red zone back. So, yeah, I can see where teams will take him in fantasy. I got him on the field, man.
Good to know. Good to know. Definitely. All right. So we were talking about the 53, getting into the 53. Let's get into it. Again, I will start off with the quarterback position. Obviously, you know who made the quarterback positions. The three
Yeah.
obvious: Josh Allen, Matt Barkley, and obviously Jake from State Farm. I mean Jake Fromm. Yeah, those three made it on the quarterback list. Davis Webb was cut. Obviously, you've seen that. Davis Webb was cut. At the running back position, we got Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, T.J. Yeldon, Greg Gilliam, Reggie Gilliam, and Tywan Jones. They cut Antonio Williams, Patrick DeMarco's on IR, and Christian Wade is obviously a roster exempt. Here's my question. Why is T.J. Yeldon still on the roster?
What's wrong with T.J. Yeldon?
Definitively, what is he on the roster for?
What do you mean, what are you on the roster for?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you mean, what is T.J. Yeldon on the roster for?
Because he sucks. He's terrible. I've watched.
No,
what
sir.
did he last year but fumble the ball? He fumbled the ball last year.
Yeah, he did. And he came right out. He came right out, too.
Came right out.
He came right out. So, right. But here's a guy that knows your system. Here's a guy that knows your system. All right. You got to understand stuff within this pandemic. And offense is really complicated. You know, defense is always the easiest part. Offense is really complicated just to get that thing down, get that continuity, get all 11 guys in sync, develop that chemistry. Somebody who knows my stuff, right? He knows my scheme. Zach Moss or Devin Singletary get hurt. Who's back at running back? Don't tell me Tywan Jones. You better not say Tywan Jones.
So this brings me to an interesting conversation. And no, it's not Tywan Jones. Obviously not. So explain why they brought back Tywan Jones. I got a feeling I know why, but go ahead and tell me why they brought back Tywan Jones.
Well, I mean, Tywan Jones.
What's up? Go ahead.
Tywan Jones returned kicks for him. You know,
right.
in McDermott's first year, he's a special teams guy. That move, bringing him in, was more or less special teams, if anything. Worst case scenario, if all those backs go down, you know, he has to shoulder the load a bit. But that's particularly a special teams move, and that's where that is with Tywan Jones. It was all built for special teams with him. So, you know, that's how that 53-man roster is devised up that way.
So I gotta get a little aggressive with the questioning. Mookie Hawkins, do you believe that T.J. Yeldon can shoulder the load? Yes or no, sir? Yes or no? Do you think that he can? So you confident in T.J. Yeldon shouldering the load?
Yep, I'm confident in T.J. Yeldon shouldering the load.
Okay. I guess I'm going to agree to disagree.
I mean, but he looked good in the scrimmage. He didn't fumble the ball in the scrimmage. And that was against the number one defense. All right. He didn't fumble the ball. He ran quite well. You know, and, you know, maybe it's a different year for him. You know, he's in the system for a second year. You know, so it's a different kind of feel for him right now. So, you know, hopefully he can get. I tell you what. Who would you rather have out there at empty, DeMarco or T.J. Yeldon?
Good question. The answer is neither. How about that? Neither. How about that? Just empty it, period. Just empty it. Who cares? You don't need him out there. Just, you know what?
He was in empty. That's what I'm saying. DeMarco was out there in empty. So who would you rather have out there?
Ridiculous.
I don't want to see DeMarco. Well, we're not going to see DeMarco anyway because you know, he's on IR for the year.
Yeah.
So we're not going to see him. So I mean, I said before that this roster is going to show how really severe these injuries are. You know, he practiced, okay, DeMarco's out with a neck, you know, such and such is out with a hamstring. But now when it comes down to trimming this roster down, you're really starting to see how severe those injuries are. It was shocking. I thought that the way it was floating, that it just would be a PUP situation. But it's IR. Okay, so that means he's out for the whole season. The entire season, he's done. So that injury is a little bit more severe than what we thought it would be. I mean, you're dealing with a neck and you're a fullback and you're a special teams guy. This potentially could be a career-ending injury. You know, guy that DeMarco's been in the league for 8-9 years. You know, that's pretty long for a fullback. So, you know, having these neck injuries right now and you're out for the season, you know, you're on the wrong side of 30 for that. So who's to say that, you know, Pat DeMarco career could be potentially over with this now if he gets released, or because his contract is up after this year. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't think he's going to sign on with another team and start or have that same, you know, clout, if you will, with another squad than here in Buffalo. So, you know, that was the shocker with me with Marco being out. Gilliam, basically it threw me off because, you know, everybody was high on him. I was high on him coming out of Toledo, but it threw me off when they switched his position. You know, Coach McDermott went on to say that, you know, he has, you know, some ways to learn and stuff like that. I don't know if he had a bad practice day or whatever the case, but, you know, McDermott, you know, slightly some concerns, but they were good concerns. You know, he has, you know, some ways to go and learning this thing here, but he made the roster. He made the roster, you know, undrafted free agent, made the roster, rookie. So, you know, that's letting you know how valuable that guy potentially could be, you know, for the Bills going in. So, you know, new look, new things happening, new players. All right, we got new wrinkles in this offense. You know, everybody's, you know, can't wait to see. You know what I mean? I can't tell you right now, you know what I mean? But you're going to like the offense this year. I can tell you that. They will have switched it up. You're going to like the offense. As much as I stay on the guy about that offense, you're going to like what you see in this offense. You know, some things might be the same, but different personnel. And you might see some new wrinkles out there that you might like. You know, hopefully they could execute. If they execute, then we should get what we want. You know, we should get Bills averaging 28 to 30 points again.
Awesome. Chuck Thomas, what up? He said the Bills already have 3 running backs: Allen, Moss, Singletary. It's true. Very true. Very true. Definitely. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in, and thank you again, of course, for tuning in. We're going to get into some more of this 53, the tight end position. Oh, yeah, don't choke. Don't choke. Don't choke. Oh, boy.
You got to talk about them tight ends. I almost lost my water right there.
Yo, lost the water. Almost lost the water. Y'all almost saw a real funny moment right there.
Yeah, you almost saw a Zoom blunder.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. So, the final roster, man. Dawson Knox, Tyler Croft, Lee Smith. There's some cuts that was made. Obviously, Tommy Sweeney is on the PUP. Jason Kroom and Nate Becker.
Well, now, we already knew that. I mean, Kroom was having a solid camp and he got hurt. Becker was just a camp body. Croft, he was on a bubble, but you know, you got to look at it, and it's kind of like with, you know, Trent Murphy's situation too. But we'll get in that when it's time to talk about the D-line. But Tyler Croft was another one of those guys, but he was having a solid camp this year. You know, he come in healthy. I mean, you know, the knock on him was the injury. So when the Bills first got him, he already had a nagging foot injury. So that kind of derailed the process a little bit in him, you know, getting on the field, knowing the system, getting acclimated with the offense for the first time. You know, so that kind of hindered him. And then, you know, we start looking at the money that we're paying the guy, and then we be like, yeah, get rid of him. You know, sometimes we can't be too quick to get rid of people. Sometimes we have to trust the process. Okay. So this year, Tyler Croft come in healthy. All right. He came into camp healthy this year. So he doesn't miss a beat with any type of reps that's going on. He don't miss anything as far as you know, offensive scheme. He's out there on the field, meshing with the guys, getting everything all right. He's available now. So you know, and he's looking good. He's looking good. So Croft was going to make it because he restructured the contract to stay here in the beginning. So Lee Smith, I know everybody's like, what the hell Lee Smith is still doing on the squad? Okay, the reason why Lee Smith is on the team, guys, he is the backup long snapper. Okay, so if our long snapper, Reed Ferguson, gets hurt, who's going to long snap the ball? Right, you got to have a backup for everything you have out there. But that's why Lee Smith remains on the roster. You know, so, you know, your tight end room is set. You got Reggie Gillum, you know, who's in that sauce as well. Another, you know, like I said, undrafted free agent rookie tight end, makes the squad. So, you know, the Bills has 4 tight ends right now on the roster that's active. Now, will he be part of that guys that suited up? You know, that remains to be seen right now.
All right. Let's get to the wide receiver position. Wide receiver position. This is going to obviously be a conversation. The final roster, obviously, Stephon Diggs, John Brown, Cole Beasley. You had Gabriel Davis, Isaiah Hodgins, and Isaiah McKenzie, right? Your cuts, though. Duke Williams, Robert Foster, Andre Roberts. There is a report that the Bills do plan on re-signing Andre Roberts, though, on Sunday.
Yeah. That's bound to happen. You know what I mean? My thing is my surprise. I was riding Duke. You know, Duke is my guy. You know, I was rooting for Duke to make this squad. But, you know, the thing that Coach McDermott covets the most is player flexibility. Okay. And, you know, when you look at the scenarios, when you look at, okay, who do I keep over IMAC, Robert Foster, Duke Williams, those 3 guys. Duke Williams is pretty much, compared to those 3 guys, he's one-dimensional. All right, he's a big target, you know, red zone threat, yada yada yada. That's what he brings to the table. Robert Foster, blazing speed, average hands, special teams. All right, he's gunner on special teams. IMAC, he could do a little bit more in the offense as far as scheme wise. He could be your jet sweep guy. He could be a gadget guy. You know, he could do a little bit more for you offensively. On top of, he does do special teams as well. So when you look at those factors, you know, who would you rather have? You know, and that's one thing I didn't really break it down to, you know, until after the fact. So who would you rather have? You know, and that's why you see Isaiah McKenzie makes the squad over Duke, over Robert Foster, and those 2 guys still have practice squad eligibility. Isaiah McKenzie, I don't know if he does, but at the end of the day, hey, you know, we paying the guy a little bit more. So I'd rather have this guy who's been in my offense, who's played in my offense a little bit more, who's been out there a little bit more, and continue the process with that guy going forward and continue to develop Duke and Robert Foster if they remain on the squad. If they clear waivers, then they'll be on the practice squad as well. But I was disappointed, like I said, because I was rooting for Duke to make the squad. But in all actuality, realistically, Isaiah McKenzie was a better choice. Robert Foster was just, hey, we're going to take that money you owe us. We're going to rip that contract up come back and see us tomorrow. Okay, we have a new one for you. You know, so, something that's going to be a little bit more favorable for the organization. You know, so what did I do right there?
So pretty much in a nutshell, you'll see Robert Foster now.
Well, you see both of them back. They tried to trade Robert Foster yesterday.
Yeah, I heard about potential trade him and Roberts.
Yeah, they tried to trade Robert Foster yesterday to no avail, but so those guys are going to end up on the practice squad. So you know they'll be back. They'll just be on the practice squad unless someone picks them up. You know, we'll see. I guess what the waiver wire is out at 4:00. They can clear waivers, but we'll have to see. But right now, Isaiah McKenzie's making the squad. Andre Roberts was kind of a shocker, but you know, it was more of a business move. It was more business. Andre Roberts is what, 31, 32 years old. He is a Pro Bowler, but hey, you that contract we're paying you is a little too high. So we're gonna scrape a few coins from you and bring you back in 24 hours. In the words of Kirk Cousins, you like that? You like that?
Sounds
you don't like that. If you don't like that, Robert Edwards, you can go.
Right.
But I think Andre Roberts is like, hey, I want to be here. I got a special thing that's happening right now in Buffalo, and you want to be a part of that. He's at the end of his career, and, so he wants to be a part of this. So Andre Roberts will be back. He ain't going nowhere. He's just camping out right now.
Cool, awesome. All right, moving on to the offensive line. Looks like the Buffalo Bills are doing things in depth this year. They are extensively scaling the roster. I had to coin that a little bit. I remember a certain conversation back in the day. Glad to see that the Bills have definitely progressed. Definitely. I'm glad about that. Brian Baldwin, what's up? Good morning. Marshawn, good morning as well. Thank you for tuning in. And everybody that's tuned in, Bills Mafia, y'all should be super excited, man. 7 days left. 7 days before the big start, the big kicker. Next week, 8:30 in the morning, we'll be kicking off the pre-show to the season. Mook, man, it's phenomenal, man. We here. We finally got here.
Oh, we finally survived, right?
Right. Finally survived. These guys survived on the offensive line. Mitch Morris, obviously, Quentin Spain, Cody Ford, Ike Bollinger, John Feliciano, and Brian Winters. Cuts, Brandon Walton, and Evan Bone, right? These are your interior offensive linemen, folks. So if you did not hear me say Ty Anishki, the reason why you didn't hear me say Ty Anishki is because they're offensive tackles, folks. I said interior offensive line. Do you agree with these cuts? Do you agree with the final roster? Mookie?
Yeah, I agree with the cuts. It wasn't nothing shocking to me as far as like the O-line goes. I thought Winters probably would have got axed, but him just coming in, getting acclimated to certain things, it's kind of tough. Just to be thrown in the fire. And another veteran, so you keep those guys around. So I don't have no problem with the offensive line. As far as the moves that they made, the guys that they did cut, I don't have a problem with the O-line because you figure majority of those guys are back from last year. So that's what's really needed for Josh's development. That's what's really needed for this offense really to thrive and keep that offense on the same page. And I think they did a good job up front. We're pretty stout up front on offense and defense this year. So, I'm real excited about that because the game is won up front no matter who's the quarterback, running back, linebacker, cornerback. The game is won up front all day, right in those trenches. And I think we got some dogs that's up for the task on both sides of the ball. So I'm cool with the O-line. I'm cool with it. I mean, we're going to see some tweaks in, certain people, but that's what we wanted to see anyway. You know, that's what we wanted to see anyway. I can't let the cat out of the bag, Dre. You know what I mean? I'm sworn to secrecy here. All right. You know, Bill's
No,
got me on the
not.
tight leash. They got me on the tight leash. They got all the media guys on tight leashes right now. We can't display or give up any intel on who's lining up where, yada yada yada.
Don't.
Can't
No,
do it.
please don't do that. Please don't.
G14 classified. But
Yeah.
on Sunday you'll see like, oh, so that's
That's the
After
way.
Sunday, then maybe I can say a few things. You know what I mean? But it's too close to game day.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Don't do that. Please don't. I wouldn't want you to see you run it. I wouldn't want you to be Chris Brown, okay?
Chris Brown.
I wouldn't want you to do that. Please don't do that. All right. Yes, no. I don't want you to do that. Yes, no.
Man,
You already know. Right. By the way, of course,
man.
Right.
Keep
You
it
know
on
he
low.
made.
You already know.
Yeah, you know he made the roster. Obviously, he made the roster. Ryan Bates, Ty Nishiki, and Daryl Williams all made the roster. Markel Harrell, Trey Adams, and Victor Solenko all got cut. All right, those are your cuts. Man, we got 8 minutes to get through this stuff. We got to get through this stuff. Moot. All right, we agree. We agree with that.
I agree with that. I have no smoke with the offensive line. No smoke. Well, most of those guys will be on the practice squad anyway.
Cannot believe that this 52 minutes went by so doggone fast. All right. Well, I mean, we actually have 53 minutes, which leaves 7 minutes left, which means 7 is the number today. All right. 7 days left. 7. All right. Bills Mafia. It's going to be a quite interesting season. All right. Quite interesting. A lot different from what you're used to. Defensive end. Of course, we've been on the defensive end about how the season is going to look, who's going to be able to be there in attendance and things of that nature. But the defensive end position is finally locked. Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, Daryl Johnson, Trent Murphy, which a lot of people were like, why the hell is Trent Murphy still here? AJ Espinosa. All right, cuts, Brian Cox Jr., Mike Love. What's going on with this move?
Well, Trent Murphy survives the island. And, once again, I had an opportunity to, attend the scrimmage, to watch the scrimmage. And I was like, you know what? Trent Murphy ain't that bad when you put guys around him. It's just like, a quarterback. I got to put these guys, the right pieces around me to, so my talents can explode. He's not a guy that you can put the team on his shoulders. He's not that type of guy. He's not that Khalil Mack type of guy. He's not a Bruce Smith, okay? He's not going to give you that. He need pieces around him for his game to flourish. And I saw that, and I was like, well, damn, maybe the Bills can stand that $8 million this year to keep him on because we're dealing with a pandemic. And I got to stick to what I know right here. Here's a guy that's good for my locker room. He's an experienced veteran coming into his second year underneath my system with these great group of guys that I've brought in as well. Let's see how that works, And then you got to look at it as well. Did AJ Espinosa do enough to take that spot from him? That answers your question right there. He didn't do enough, So it's still some development with AJ's game, to keep Trent on right now. Who's to say that somebody might come along and they say, hey, you know what? We got, we're going to pick this guy up and we're going to cut Trent Murphy. That still can happen. But right now, Trent Murphy is surviving the island, man. He survived the island. So everybody was looking for him to be cut.
Survived Gilligan's Island, huh? He survived Gilligan's Island?
Yeah, he survived McDermott Island.
Or was he on the Survivor? Special
Island, McDermott Island, however you want to nickname it, he's surviving right now. He's still surviving. And we still can let him go. The Bills still can cut him. But right now, he's surviving the island, man. So, that just makes that line, that unit just more solid, what I mean? Because it's seasoned veterans and, it consume you. Maybe, he might turn into a dog and have a breakout year this year. He's healthy as well. another year underneath the belt, you know, he can potentially have a breakout season. It'll be a little bit more comfortable.
Defensive tackle. We got like 4 minutes left in the show, but I think so. What we're gonna do? This is what we're gonna do. Because a lot of people is joined in now. A lot of people is in here. A lot of people is watching. What we're gonna do is, in 4 minutes, we're gonna play the ending credits. You're gonna hear the ending credits, but we're gonna go in overtime. If that's okay with you, Mook, we can talk more about the Bills. I mean, this is the last week before we get into the season. So
the last supper, baby. It's the last supper.
Last supper. So I want to thank everybody who's tuning in right now. And of course, the call line number is 716-803-9517 because we're going to take your questions. All right. Defensive tackle, obviously Harrison Phillips, Vernon Butler, Quentin Jefferson, Ed Oliver. They cut Vincent Taylor. They cut Trinell Smart and Justin Zimmer. What's going on with that?
Nothing's going on with that. Those are the guys that, you know, you figured that would be cut. I mean, Smart was having a solid camp. You know, Taylor was kind of, it was a tough one for Taylor because, you know, here's a guy that, you know, played on the team last year and played in some games, but that D tackle spot is deep, bro. It's deep. You know what I mean? So that's just how it is when it's competition. You look at the guys that made the squad. I mean, Taylor didn't do enough to beat any one of those guys out. So, you know, that's pretty much the bottom line with the D tackle position.
All right. I'll run through, for the last 2 minutes, I'll run through the rest of the cuts and who made the roster. Obviously, Tremont Edmonds, Matt Milano, AJ Klein, Tyler McAvinci,
Matakevich.
Yeah. Okay, Matakevich. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Slaughtered his name just now.
Yeah,
Deshaun Phillips, thank you. Tyrell Dodson. Corey Thompson was cut. Boshan Joseph was cut. Andre Smith was cut. At the corner position, you have Trey White, Levi Wallace, Josh Norman, and Saran Neal. Saran Neal, I seen that interview with you at Saran Neal, by the way. Really good interview. They cut Cam Lewis, Brian Allen, who they just brought in, interesting enough, and Dane Jackson, the 7th rounder that they had from last year, right? Then at the safety position, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, and Jaquan Johnson. They cut Josh Thompson, and they cut Dean Marlowe. All right, so those are the cuts. Even though there is a report that Dean Marlowe will be re-signed.
Dean Marlowe's not going anywhere. They have a love thing going on with Dean Marlowe. Dean Marlowe understands, you know, the process and knows what goes on with that. Same thing happened with him last year. He got cut. They end up bringing him back on the squad. So the same thing is going to happen, you know, with Dean Marlowe. You know, so the surprise is Deshaun Phillips. Nobody's talking about. He made the squad. You know, the surprise cut was Voshan. You know, coming off an injury, he didn't, you know, step up to the task and got injured again this year. So it was just, you know, it's just a tough deal for him. But he still has practice squad eligibility. So, you know, a lot of these guys that got cut will still be on the practice squad. You could hold 16 guys on the practice squad this year. So, you know, the Bills are going to take fully advantage of that. And majority of those guys that didn't make the team will be on the practice squad to develop.
Awesome. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Buffalo Bills Rise Up Early edition, of course. Next week is kickoff Sunday next week. All right. Me and Mookie Hawkins will be in the building. Mookie Hawkins will be a very busy man coming up. I'm going to be super busy myself. Got a couple things to write, and I got some things to look at. By the way, tomorrow, Monday Night Madness, I need y'all to watch. We will talk about the Bills again on Monday Night Madness. All right, we will talk about a couple things on Monday Night Madness as we get into the NFL season. So make sure you tune into that as well. Shout out to the Bills Mafia and everybody who tunes in. Of course, I told y'all what was gonna go down. You want to stay, because we're gonna go into overtime. All right, but I gotta run this. Gotta run it. See you next week.
Putting too much into it. Yeah. Let's get this fire started. Sports became a passion. Convo bring it to life, highlighting all the action. Opinions could explode like a chemical reaction. If we started from the bottom, now rise up the newest caption. Man, it's known that every team and every person got a nemesis. But this that's